Hey there, welcome to the Lies of P review. I'm going to review the whole game. This game's been out for a while, but the DLC just released not too long ago. Let's get cracking. Also, real quick, yes, I know Donkey Kong's in the bottom left corner. I left that on my stream. Sorry, he's beautiful. Lies of P is a Souls-like inspired game, heavily influenced by the FromSoft Dark Souls series and Elden Ring. And right off the bat, I'm gonna let you know I think this surpasses Dark Souls and Elden Ring. Lies of P is an incredibly polished and fun experience that I cannot recommend enough. And the newest update made the game more accessible by adding 2 new difficulty modes. They're actually easier than the base game that it released with over a year ago, which is nice, but I ended up playing the game on the hardest difficulty, which is how the game released, Legendary Stalker. But let's start with the story. The story is based off the fairy tale of Pinocchio, and you play as the character P. Interestingly enough, the name Pinocchio is never mentioned throughout the entire game. You're just P. They don't even call you that. That's just like what the player knows the character as. But anyways, the world takes place in the city of Krat. You play as Pinocchio, whatever, and you are exploring this world that is being attacked by puppets, the puppet frenzy. But it's more than just puppets. There's also well, I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's a lot of other cool looking enemies, so just don't get used to puppets. But you end up discovering why this frenzy happened, what this world is like. It's very grim, similar to the Dark Souls series, but you do find sanctuary in a hotel. There is a catch though. You have the option to lie. In certain quests and scenarios, P will be presented with a question or a situation where he has to either tell the truth or lie. You as the player have to decide what is best for this situation, because the goal is to find humanity for P, which is kind of similar to the Pinocchio story. But again, it is not the same story as the fairy tale. It's heavily inspired. It's definitely different, and it's a good story. It's fun. The DLC to the story is also interesting. You actually go back in time to see what else happened during the puppet frenzy. I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but it's also a very interesting exploration as well. Graphically, this game is impressive. It's really pretty to look at. It's very steampunk-like related. As for environments, nothing is super original. It's like cities. They look cool and decrepit, hotels. But overall, very pretty game. And the music, I like the music. I think the music in the hotel is very nice, very calming. I'm actually playing it in the background right now. Other than that, yeah, the music's alright. It's good. It's not bad. It's warm. It's welcoming, especially some of the optional records you can get in the game. But yeah, other than that, it's like Dark Souls music. It's cool when you're fighting a boss, but honestly, most of the soundtrack doesn't really stick to me. At least the boss music doesn't. But yeah, I mean, it's alright, the soundtrack. I liked it. But now it's time for the bread and butter, the gameplay. This game is very similar to Dark Souls with a hint of Sekiro, if you know that game. Fundamentally, it does play a lot like Dark Souls, but things that I really like about this game is that you don't have to be a specific level to use weapons. Once you unlock a weapon, you can use it anytime you want, whereas in Dark Souls, you have to be a specific level to efficiently use a weapon. That being said, there are still classes, and there are 3. Technique, Motivity, and Advance. I was Technique build, which granted me a lot of mobility when doing attacks, which I really liked a lot. Speed was my bread and butter in this game. But some other weapons are really cool too. They'll have special effects like electricity. There's also acid, fire. I actually did end up using a fire weapon in the game, which was pretty cool. There's some weapons that explode too. They're really nice. The game also has this unique mechanic for most weapons where they let you alter the handle, which the handle is what decides whether it's Motivity, Technique, or Advance. And you can actually customize some of the weapons, and each handle and top of the weapon has a different special attack. Sometimes it's been a big spin or a big explosion. Sometimes it can be a lunge. There's a lot of variety in this game for weapons. And of course, there's lots of variety for the mechanics as well. My favorite mechanic in this game is the perfect guard. The perfect guard is much like Sekiro's perfect guard, where if you time an attack, like an enemy's attack, you can perfect guard, you'll see an orange spark, and you will take no damage. In fact, it's more than just that. You'll end up weakening the enemy's poise. And another gimmick in the game is when you see the enemy's health bar go white, you want to do a charged attack, and you will do a massive stagger on the enemy, and you will get a fatal attack off, where a little red thing goes in front or behind the enemy, and you'll get massive damage. And of course, you can also just do a basic dodge too. Dodges have iframes just like in the Souls game, but there is a catch. If the enemy does a red attack, you will not have your iframes, meaning the enemy will be able to attack you if he hits. But if you get the perfect guard off, you'll end up getting rewarded. It's always so satisfying to do that. The game also gives you a variety of amulets and upgradable skills. Like one skill I had, with each perfect parry, it would increase my next attack a little bit. There's also other things like you can get more heals off a pulse cell, which is basically your Estus flask in this game. You can also minimize fall damage too, or you can increase your technique if you wanted to, but they also have weight. Weight is in this game as well, like in the Dark Souls series. For those who don't know, if you go over a weight limit, which the game tells you, your rolls will be fatter and you will be more vulnerable to attacks. I try to avoid that as best as I can, but you know what? You do you. Speaking of items, there's a bunch of items as well, such as a lot of throwable items, consumables. I'm going to be honest, I don't really do those in Souls games. Rarely will I do it, and it was the case in this game as well. But some of the ones would be like a thermal grenade thing that would just burst into flames. They had it for acid too. There was also a new item in the DLC added, which increases your health and stamina. I don't know why I didn't do that for the final boss in hindsight. I actually really needed that for the DLC final boss, which is really tough. Which I guess goes into my next point, the bosses. The bosses are so good in this game. They're all a lot of fun and very creative as well, especially the DLC. The DLC final boss was a real son of a gun, I'll tell you that much. But you'll end up meeting a variety of bosses. Interestingly enough, there's no bonus boss, no boss you can find like Nameless King in Dark Souls 3, but that's alright. The game will always keep you on your toes. They'll always throw something new at you. The enemy design is really cool. Some of them are like incredibly memorable and just flat out my favorite Souls boss in the entire genre. Also, before I forget, on the bottom left of that screen, that is a grindstone. There is a durability mechanic in Lies of P. So if you use your weapon too much, it will get dull, and you won't be able to land combos. You'll end up bouncing your weapon off the enemy. So you'll end up using that grindstone to sharpen your tools, which will also keep you on your toes too. I actually really like it. The game also offers a variety of special grindstones, where you can add like a special buff, like you can do critical hits, you can add fire to it. The DLC adds some new ones as well. Finally, there's one other special weapon that P has, the Legion Arm. And there are many different types of sub-abilities you can use in the game. I think there's like 9. The DLC adds another 2. And these can range from like a cool hook that can drag in your opponent, or you can do a big ground slam. The new one adds like some shurikens that are really cool and super helpful in this DLC. Or you can just get like a shield that you can parry enemies with, and then it explodes. So yeah, there's a lot of variety, but if I'm being honest, I think there's only like 4 that are really good. Maybe some other ones are better too, and I'm just not efficient with them. I also have to go over the quality of life features that the DLC added in the recent update. It's amazing. I can't imagine Souls games without it now. If you look in the top right corner right now, you might see a little gray bar under my Ergo, which is basically the souls from Dark Souls. You collect those as you kill enemies to level up and buy things. There's now a progress bar that lets you know when you're ready to level up. And you're not seeing it right now, but there will be a heart with the number 1 next to it when I reach that bar. And then it will go to 2, 3 if I have numerous Ergo. And man, it's amazing. Even when you're leveling up now, you can actually pop these Ergo item things that holds a bunch of Ergo, like 700, 1,000 or whatever. Before, you had to like step away from the level up machine, and then you had to pop it and then go back. But now you don't have to do that. It's great. Also, another thing I really like too is that when you're doing side quests, when you have to like deliver something or go talk to an NPC, the game will literally tell you where to go, which area to teleport to, and who to look for. For example, you'll go to the hotel a lot and talk to certain NPCs, like, well, I don't want to say the characters, but it'll be their face up. It'll be like, hey, go talk to this guy. This guy's got a quest or something to give you. It's amazing. Because in the Dark Souls franchise, especially Elden Ring, the quests are so cryptic and it's just annoying to like find. You literally have to Google it, but you don't really need to do that in Lies of P. So that's something I very much appreciated in this series. Another great quality of life thing it added is once you get this certain thing in the game, you'll be able to respec anytime you like in the game. It's really nice. You don't need an item or anything. You can reset your levels, level up to whatever you want. You can even level up your P organs, which is amazing. You use quartz to level up the character to get certain bonuses like more pulse cells, an extra dodge, degen on your guard, etc. Now to go over some of the things I wasn't crazy about, which good news isn't much, but this is something I complain about with the entire Dark Souls series. The Stargazer, or the Bonfire, whatever you want to call it, the spawns near bosses are always such a hike. There's one example in the base game where you have to climb up this big staircase and go through a sandy desert, and it takes over a minute to walk to. And it's a Dark Souls-like game, so you're probably going to die a lot. So that means every time you die, you got to go through that whole minute walk again, over and over again, which is never fun. Thankfully, your Soul's Ergo, or whatever, will just spawn right outside the boss room, so you don't have to like go fetch them in the boss room. I really wish Lies of P would just spawn you right outside the boss door when you're at a boss. That would be so good. Also, in the DLC, there's a couple bosses that are kind of stinkers. They're not the best, but they're also not the worst too. Also, some areas in the game are a little confusing to maneuver, but it wasn't the worst in the world. Other than that, that's pretty much all the complaints I have about the game, at least that I can think of. Overall, I enjoyed my time with Lies of P. By the way, right before the DLC got dropped, I ended up beating the whole game again during a second playthrough. I was pretty sick and I needed something to do, so I put 20 hours into the whole game again, and then another 15 into the DLC. So this game kept me busy, and I definitely enjoyed my time with it. But overall, I'm going to have to give Lies of P a 9 out of 10. I think this is one of my all-time favorite Souls-like. I always flip-flop between this and Sekiro, but this is a game that I would recommend to people wanting to get into the genre, especially after adding those new difficulty options. So yeah. Oh, lastly, there's probably going to be a sequel. They did hint at it. I'm not going to say like what it would be, but it's definitely something I'd be excited for. So hopefully they, keep that perfect guard mechanic and have all this wild creativity like they did in Lies of P, because this is definitely one to play. A must-play for any enjoyer of the Souls genre or just people wanting to get in. Anyways, thanks again. Feel free to catch my streams. I'm SteveMWS, and I'm probably going to do a Mario Kart World review at some point. All right. You guys take care, and hope to catch you on the streams. Bye.